Hello, welcome to this episode of Rich Insights. I'm Don Rich, Chief of Investments for Esoterica Capital Management. Today's topic is virus volatility. Now, yesterday was a tremendous day, right? By some measures, it was the largest down day in history, right? That was true in the Italian stock market. I believe I saw a headline that Canada also had its largest one-day move ever. In the U.S., the S&P 500 was down just shy of 10%, right? It was down 9.99% on one-day move. And for the U.S., that ended up being the second largest move in history. All right, so we're just seeing this tremendous volatility right now, largely due to the coronavirus, of course. All right, so what we have to do is realize that we are at the end of the longest bull market in history, right? That's the first concept of the day. We are at the end of the longest bull market in history. All right, so if you just measure the bull market, based on price activity, it started on March 9th, 2009. If for those of you that follow the market closely, you'll remember it was March 9th of 2009. Well, so we just passed, it's March, 13th today. So we just eclipsed the 11-year mark, and now we've experienced a 20% pullback, which is the official definition of the end of that bull market, the longest bull market in history. The other way to measure it is there's a formalized measure. There's a group called the NBER, the National Bureau of Economic Research. They're the ones that officially proclaim when a recession occurs and when an expansion period starts and so forth. Well, based on their definition, they believe the expansion started in June of 2009, not March 9th, but June 1st of 2009. So, based on NBER, we won't know for months because they always look backward to assess when things happen. But based on their definition as well, we're likely we have come to the end of the longest bull market in history. All right. So with that as a background, what does that mean? What do we do with it? Well, the first thing is this buy the dip mentality. This works during bull markets, right? The buy the dip mentality works during bull markets. The old line, right? The old punchline is you want to buy all pullbacks except for the last one. Well, in some sense, we just experienced the last one. Right. So you've got to get away from the buy the dip mentality. We got to start thinking about the difference between relief rallies, like we're experiencing today, and the start of more sustained rallies, which I don't think we've experienced yet. I think, again, this is more of a relief rally. I would even characterize it probably more as a dead cat bounce than a sustained rally. All right, so the end of the longest bull market in history. So what is causing the relief rally we see today? Well, we got some drastic measures that were taken, right? We are in survival mode. So the first drastic measure that was taken yesterday was the U.S. Federal Reserve announced essentially unlimited repo agreements. All right. Now, just think about it. These repurchase agreements allow you allow U.S. companies access to temporary cash. So a repo agreement works like this. So let's say, I'm a company or a bank and I need cash. Maybe I got a bond payment due or something, right? I need cash on a short-term basis. So I'm going to take the treasury bonds I have and give them to the Fed, right? And they're going to give me cash in return. But I'm also going to agree to buy those treasuries back, right? So I'm going to sell them to the Fed today. They're going to give me cash back today. But part of the contract is that I'm also mandating myself to buy those back again. So I might have to buy them back tomorrow, right? That'd be what's called an overnight repo. I might have to buy them back a week from now, a 1-week repo, or a month from now, right? Those are called term repos. So the Fed used this tactic in 2008 to satisfy or essentially provide unlimited liquidity to the marketplace. And that's what they announced yesterday. Now with that, The next thing you're probably going to see is a swap facility. You're going to hear about swap lines being set up at the Fed. All right, so while the repos handle the U.S. Need for cash, right? The U.S. corporations need for cash. What about non-U.S. corporations? What about foreign companies, foreign governments even? What about their need for U.S. dollar-denominated cash? Well, that's what these swap lines are for. Same thing as a repo, but we're not talking about putting up treasuries. We're talking about putting up, maybe some a Brazilian bond, a Mexican bond, or something like that in the U.S., giving you dollar cash in return. All right, so that's the second thing you're likely to hear about here very quickly. And you're also going to hear about this concept known as helicopter money. What the hell is that, right? Helicopter money. Well, we haven't tried helicopter money in the U.S. for a long, long time. Right? Last time we did it was, I believe it was 91. Bush won, right? And what helicopter money is they send a check to everyone. The government just sends a check out. All right, it's Christmas. All right, I believe in, don't hold me to these figures, but I believe in 91 it was like $1,200 for every married couple in the U.S., maybe $900 or something for each individual. It was just a no questions asked. Here's your money. Do with it what you want. Now, this helicopter money, which by the way, Hong Kong just tried, I believe it was last week or 2 weeks ago. They just tried it very recently. Helicopter money generally is not very effective as a stimulus program, right? Because it's not targeted at anyone. It's just in hopes that everybody starts to spend money and reinvigorate the economy. But so why are we doing it now? If history tells us it's not been real effective, why is it the U.S. government's likely to try it now? Well, we are going to have a ton of newly unemployed people or people who cannot work because they have to stay at home due to the coronavirus, or they have to stay at home because the schools are closing and someone has to provide the child care. So the idea is if we send out these blank checks, hopefully we'll get them in the right people, and those that are dislocated will be able to continue to pay their rent. Right? We'll be able to continue to buy groceries and so forth. So the helicopter money is very quick. It's simple, and we're most likely going to see that as well. So those are some of the actions that are giving rise to this relief rally we're seeing right now. But again, why the tremendous volatility? We're moving 1,000 points a day. Some days 2,000 plus points a day in the Dow. Right? Just huge moves like we haven't seen for a long time. What's causing this volatility? Well, the problem is earnings. We don't know the effect of the coronavirus. We don't know just how bad it's going to be. Obviously, it's not going to be good, but how bad is it going to be? All right, and some things are easy, right? We know if people aren't flying, it's going to be terrible for the airline industry. If they're not taking cruises, right? If they're not going to concerts, if they're not going to sporting events, if they're not going to school, right? We know some of the immediate effects, and those are bad, but there's also a whole slew of second order effects, right? Think about this when you getting ready to travel, or maybe for a restaurant or whatever. How do you find that information? How do you book the airline tickets? You do it online. The ad revenue for a number of these companies, the Facebooks, the Twitters, and so forth of the world, the ad revenues are going to collapse here when we're in this social distancing phase. All right, now, how important is this going to be? All right, how important is this going to be? Well, just stop and think about this. At the minimum, the U.S. is largely shut down for, let's call it at least a week. Right? We got so many people working from home, and we know, you're working from home, but it's not the same as actually working. So if you just think, let's just take a week. Let's say the U.S. economy suddenly got 5 extra holidays, vacation days, right? Well, 5 out of 65, right? There's 65 work days in a quarter. 5 out of 65, that's a 7% drop, right? And that's if we're only out of work for a week. Right? As this thing lingers on, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. All right. But how much worse? Again, we don't know at this point. That's what's causing this tremendous volatility. All right. So you just experienced a rich insight. I'm Don Rich. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk again soon. Thank you.